Let's make one thing painfully clear before we even start. Azealia Banks is not a victim in a traditional sense here. She talks out the side of her mouth, starts fires for sport, and lives for controversy like it's an Olympic event. But what happened in the aftermath of her comments about Lisa? That wasn't just clapping back. That was open season anti-Black racism. And it came fast, unfiltered, and global. And as a Black girl watching it unfold, I felt sick. Look, we all know who Azealia Banks is, and if you don't, she's the pop culture equivalent of a live grenade, unpredictable, loud, and guaranteed to ruin the vibe at least once a week. She's disrespected people from every walk of life: Black, Asian, white, queer, cis, trans, you name it. Her catalog of public feuds reads like a Wikipedia list with no end in sight. She dragged your fave, your mom, your childhood pet, and your dead grandmother all in the same sentence. So no, her calling Lisa a ladyboy wasn't new. That was classic Azealia, offensive and gross. Absolutely, but surprising. Not even a little bit. It was cruel. It was transphobic. And it was calculated. She knew the internet would blow up, and she counted on it. She dropped the match and watched the whole thing burn. But even with her track record, what happened next had less to do with her and more to do with how quickly K-pop stans, especially Lisa fans, and Blinks descended into textbook anti-Black hate. That's where the real problem lies. Because it wasn't about defending Lisa anymore, it was about attacking Blackness. And suddenly, it didn't matter what Azealia actually said because the response was 10 times worse. I'm gonna say this as plainly as possible. The things K-pop stans said about Azealia Banks about Black features and Blackness in general were disgusting. Suddenly, everyone had something to say about ugly Black women, monkey features, and this is why African girls are jealous of Asian beauty. Excuse me. That wasn't fandom drama, that was full-blown racism wrapped in a light stick. And to be honest, you weren't defending Lisa. You were just looking for an excuse to air out the anti-Blackness you've been suppressing. I mean, where was all this moral outrage when K-pop idols were using the N-word, doing blackface, or appropriating dance styles without credit? Y'all were silent. You were saying they didn't know. You were defending them with essays about cultural context. Let's make this painfully clear. Racism is not justified because someone was offensive. You don't get to be a bigot because you're mad. That's not justice, that's just you being violent with extra steps. Azealia Banks being transphobic isn't a pass for you to start throwing slurs around like confetti. You're not righteous. You're not woke. You're not educating anyone. You're just racist. Considering what she did, I agree she deserved to be dragged for it, but going down the racist route was not the right thing to do. So let's wrap this up with the uncomfortable truth. This entire situation was never really about Azealia Banks. It was about the mask slipping. It was about fans showing that their love for K-pop doesn't include Black people unless we're silent, submissive, and always clapping. Azealia was wrong, absolutely wrong, and deserved every backlash. But the racism that followed her comments? That was worse. That was vile. That was global. And it showed that a lot of y'all were just waiting for a Black woman to step out of line so you could put her in her place. You want to drag Azealia for being transphobic? Cool, do it. You want to roast her for being messy and chaotic? Go off. But the moment you start weaponizing race, you're not defending your idol, you're exposing your own bigotry. Because if your version of justice is to be racist, it was never justice to begin with.